Hey guys, it's Tom. We have a SOMSFA round of 8 playoff game between, I believe it's Scott's Green Bay Packers and Joe Golden's New York Giants. Joining them in progress. One moment. One moment, Dennis.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey Dennis, how's it going? They had dropped and then restarting. Joe started early. They're almost at halftime. It's 3-3, 2:42 to go. I just started a moment ago. You can hear me okay? Dennis muted his own mic. Okay.
Oh, here, I'm back. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to join you or just listen in. So you tell me.
Oh, yeah, you can join me.
Okay.
We had to restart though.
Yeah, I'm watching it now.
So that was a minute ago.
Yeah, first and 10. He was able to pick up that first down. So 2:06 to go at Green Bay's 48. New York Giants has the ball. Game tied 3-3. There you go. Take over.
Sure. Well, as you just said, okay, so who's got the ball right now? It is the New York Giants with Brandon Wheeler, quarterback. Short pass to John Brown. Defense calling run, 4-man in zone, however. And incomplete on the defense's call with 4 men. Scott taking shrewd advantage there of Brandon Whedon's inability to go deep. Only the free safety back there. Oh, they don't like to go too many long pass roll calls with especially with Allen Robinson coming by 4. That is Allen Robinson. Am I right? Chris Johnson gets wrong at 6 yards. So Joe Golden went 13-3, Dennis. Number 2 seed right behind you is a 16-0 club.
Incorrect. 14 and he was even more impressive. 14-2.
I'm immediately more impressed. Now we have 3rd and 4 for Joe at the Green Bay 42. But here he's struggling. It's 3-3 first half, 1:37 to go. I don't know who got the opening kickoff. If you get a chance to check ball possession.
I'll do that.
That'd be good. Joe's got Brandon Whedon. That is Allen Robinson, right?
Yep. And Green Bay is coached by Scott. They went 9-7 in the regular season.
And they won a close opening round playoff game. Flat pass left to Lance Kendrick. Stephen Gusting run. 2 in there, but 5 on Brandon Whedon's card to complete for 10 yards.
So Green Bay had the ball first, so they'll get the ball. The Giants will get the ball to start the second half.
Okay, so Joe in good shape there at least. 3-3, 1:30 to go. He's at the Green Bay 32. He can score here and get the ball to start the third quarter. Off tackle left, Le'Veon Bell. Defense getting past, double teaming Robinson. Offensive incident 5-0. Austin Safarian Jenkins only at 4, does not make the play. Looks like some very good run blocking on this line for Joe. If you had a chance, Dennis, check out the pass blocking for me left to right.
All right, we got Schrader's a 7, 5, 5, 5. So lots of 7s and 5s.
Solid pass blocking as well. 7s on the left, 5s elsewhere. Gary Barnage got an excellent card at tight end. Short pass, Gary Barnage. Defense calling pass, 3-minute zone, 7 incomplete on Whedon's card. Sets up a 3rd and 10.
We know how dangerous Le'Veon Bell is in the passing game, and he's a 4 pass blocker. So not too bad.
Indeed.
I
was trying to get a kicker.
Yeah, SSFA and SOMSFA playoff games.
Hold on, 3rd and 10, a minute left. Joe goes 3 wide, 1 halfback shotgun. Defense nickel 3-3-5. Linebacker Le'Veon Bell. Joe going for the better field goal range, maybe a good roll. Gets 6 on Bell's card, gets wrong as a 4-yard gain. 4th and 6. I think this is only like a 2-8 field goal. Or 2-8-12. I just looked at it briefly a moment ago. We'll find out here. 4th and 6. It's good. It was 2-8-12. 45-yard makes it 6-3 Giants. 45 seconds before the half, and the kick is a touchback. As I'm probably out of sync now because that was super fast. And what was that question you asked me, Dennis?
Oh, I was just gonna say, did you get a nap in between the SSFA playoff game and the SOMSFA playoff game?
I fell asleep for about 20 minutes. I wouldn't call it a true nap, but yes, not really by design. I'm a little under the weather today, but I feel a little more invigorated right now. Looking past Nate Washington, even gets the pass incomplete.
Yeah, despite being down 6-3, Scott's got to be feeling good about being in this game.
Absolutely, especially when your quarterback only has 45 yards passing. But 6. Look, yeah, we said Joe 14-2, Scott 9-7. They get a 7-yard pickup from Mark Ingram. Vic Beasley could not make the play. 3rd and 3, only 8 seconds left. Scott did not call timeout or anything. Doesn't want to punt it or whatever. Maybe give Joe a chance. Maybe Joe's a good returner. Defense takes a timeout there. And we like Joe's team a lot coming in to the season, and he did not disappoint. 14-2 is outstanding. They normally get to the 1 seed, but he'll settle for the 2 seed because if form holds, that won't matter. For the 2 seed, you pretty much have home field advantage also, because the only time you could possibly not be at home would be in the Super Bowl, which is played on a neutral field. As you don't punt it here, go for it. What are you doing? It's 4th and 3, a second left. Take a knee. McCallum's got a touchdown on 2, I think. 1 second left. Could be shades of Dan Morin's disastrous game against you that time, or it could be shades of the computer game crashing, is what we see. That's what I see. Is your game still up?
Oh, sorry about that. I know it looks like it's locked up for me.
Yeah, mine crashed as well. Folks, if you get if you get a 4th down with 1 second left,
just take a knee.
Just take a knee, or if you're feeling adventurous, run a play.
You know, the problem could have been
punting it there is possibly the worst choice you could make. I'm punting it. Well, I should say it makes no sense.
Right. Problem could have been that the 2 computers were out of sync. So one side showed 8 seconds left, and the other side showed 1 second left. That's happened before. So if you have 8 seconds left, you can't take a knee because then you'll put him in field goal range. So it could have been that coach. The other coach saw that thought it was 8 seconds.
Could be. The game is struggling to handle our increased capacity, apparently, as they've crashed twice since we came on board. And we're in the second half. Okay. Rapid fire. 90 seconds in already. Joe's got the ball 1st and 10 at his own 42. He received the kick. We missed a couple of plays, but now we're back. And you got a 2nd and 10 for the Giants. Still at their own 42. Short pass, John Brown, single coverage, covered by 5. 8 is incomplete. Joe's been throwing these short pass rights in the brief time that we've been on. Has not had a lot of success so far. Off there with Whedon. Maybe some completions or a must run. Short pass, Allen Robinson, 3rd and 10. Defender X plus 13, covered by a 4. It's complete. That's the old routine, Dennis, where the guy's been doubling a good guy the whole time, and then also on 3rd down, you throw it him, it doesn't double him, and you get it.
And you remember, Robinson's one of those receivers with completions on the double team, so you're more likely to give him a shot on 3rd down anyway.
That's right. And that time you had a play action, short pass wrong to Robinson, but incomplete. You'd love to get a receiver rating there. Tremendous short pass card. Not so much next year, when he only averaged about 12 yards a catch. 2nd down and 10 for the Giants at the Green Bay 45. Short pass to Jenkins. Defense calling run. It's complete for 13 yards on Whedon's card. Joe coming out throwing here in the second half.
It's a mighty Whedon.
32, indeed. Joe would love to get a touchdown here. You know you've been there, Dennis. And remember, right, Le'Veon Bell, 8 plus 12, and he's down to the Green Bay 20. This looks like a touchdown drive.
Yeah, if you're Scott, you'll be ecstatic if you can hold him to a field goal and still be within 1 score of taking the lead yourself.
And you're getting the ball.
Good double team there.
Dennis, you've been there. You're the heavy favorite. You're 14-2. The other guy's 9-7. You know, and you're like, I got a chance to do something here. Put this guy away. Short pass receiver gets wrong. Plus 17 to John Brown.
I hate that call.
He's got a really nice. They hate the short yardage.
Yeah, short yardage is just a lazy way of calling run and bringing your linebackers up.
I'm not a huge fan of it, except in certain situations. 1st and goal from the 3. Linebacker Chris Johnson. Defensive right guard 4-0 for the full house. Gets the touchdown. Joe's going to go up 13-3, it looks like. Extra point 2 to 10 and 12, and there it is. We've been bad luck for Scott. It was 3-3 when we joined. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Now it's 13-3 after only 7.5 minutes of game time. Long pass to Bryant. Defense gets his pass.
Ooh,
picked off 11-12. Hasselback intercepted by the Giants.
Dream start to the second half for the Giants.
Intercepted by Darian Stewart and returned down to the Green Bay 30. Looks like that was he did not try to advance it. Defensive end 11-47. Touchdown. Daniil Hunter, the rookie 0, could not make the play against a 4:30-yard kickoff, a 30-yard end run touchdown rather. And all of a sudden, the Giants showing up in a big way. You know what happened, Dennis? Green Bay was right there, 3-3. All of a sudden, the bright lights of the broadcast come on, and they got a little jumpy.
No, you know what happened is Joe Golden got up in halftime and read his players the riot act, and they're responding right now.
That has to be it. Flat pass left to Kyle Rudolph, incomplete. We're midway through the third quarter. This is the speed at which you play like a Week 10 regular season game when you're 2-7.
I love this speed.
I know, yeah. I used to play like this all the time, before I started thinking more. Third and 10. But I played a game very quickly against somebody recently. It's hard to follow the action for me to as a broadcaster anyway.
Oh, I agree.
The 31-yard punt that bounces. The Giants take over their own 44. They're 20-3.
And with the ball near midfield.
Absolutely.
Everything's going wrong. And there's that terrible call.
Oh, receiving gets wrong. Long gain on an 8, 47 yards. The lazy short yardage, Dennis calls it.
The lazy run call.
Do you really need
there are times to use the short yardage.
Short pass, wrong receiver, touchdown. This is a blowout now. We now return you to our regularly scheduled broadcasting.
Well, we can talk about any number of subjects now.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Keep viewers interested.
Now, what are you saying about the short yardage defense, Dennis?
Well, there are times to use it. If you know that your opponent's going to call run, I do like it then. But when you're in these neutral situations, and Joe hasn't been running the ball this much. What did you just say? He came out of the chute throwing. I think it was a 30-yard dump off. Or white die 6, whatever it was. So, yeah, there's times to use it. But, I didn't like those, seeing that twice there in the second half as the game's slipping away from Scott.
Yeah, it was in very, very short.
But you're facing a 14-2 team. You may feel a little overwhelmed. There's a good call by Joe. So I can understand it. So I'm not going to criticize him too harshly, especially when you have weaker personnel. You almost have to be perfect to take out one of these higher seeds in these playoff matchups.
Or extremely lucky.
Yes.
Well, although you could just call it a real good game. But, yeah, it is hard. I mean, Joe's a real good coach. They're both real good coaches. So if you're both the real good coaches and one guy's got a much better team, like you said, it's pretty tough. So, yeah, but I'm not a huge fan of it myself. I mean, you can use it occasionally. I think I think guys are trying to I'm going to guess run and also cover the flats, and maybe we haven't not been watching from the beginning. Maybe Joe's been gouging him with some blocking.
True.
I don't know, but usually guess run. I mean, Scott's playing a 4-3. Usually guess run. That's enough. You don't have to bring a guy up also. You have to bring all three guys up also. So
interesting play call here. You're going to go for it.
He's going to go for 4th and 2. He's down 24. I don't know what his kicker is like. It's 2:24 to go. I don't have a problem going for it. Looking back, says Brian go by 5. There's a first down.
Especially with a good flat pass quarterback.
Yeah, so let's face it, 27-6, you don't exactly feel like you're back in it. Correct?
Correct.
Even at 27-10, you're still going to get a stop and a score to really start thinking, okay, now I've got a chance, so.
Well, I'll tell you the real reason why Scott's losing today. It's called the curse of Mark Ingram, which is the reason why I did so poorly in SOMSFA this year. Any team with Mark Ingram on it has not won a championship in the 2015 card set. That's a fact.
Was that true?
I just made it up, but it's a fact.
Okay. Wasn't he you didn't have him in who'd you have in order win?
I did not have him. Out of wind, I had Spencer Ware and Thomas Rawls.
Oh, okay. 2nd and 5 for Green Bay. The Giants.
Hey, I'm just saying that Ingram was incredibly frustrating as
I hear you. And there is Darren Sproles running for 5 yards, avoiding Ingram frustration.
He's going to redeem himself this year. He should have a good card this year.
That I'm hoping, crossing their fingers.
Here we go. We're going to pound it in here.
2nd and goal.
Well, he's got to, because we saw the post by Dan.
It's interesting. He could go for boom and bust running back. He could go for 2. A premature thinking of a touchdown.
No, you have to go. You have to go for 2 down 24. You have to go for 2.
Yeah, and then make it a 2-touchdown, 2-2-point conversion game.
Correct. Joe's on him though. Look at that key of Hasselbeck on 2nd and 1.
Yep.
Oh, Ingram, you bastard!
Oh, Dennis letting out all of his Samifa frustrations. And I'm sure the listeners are curious. 4th and goal from the 2.
Look at that. 17 runs for 54 yards. He's sabotaging this team.
4th and goal from the 2 for short pass. Charles Clay, Foreman there. Incomplete. And the comeback is short-circuited. Let's maybe get to safety here.
The curse of Mark Ingram. I'm telling you, folks, please let us know if Mark Ingram's won a championship for you in a Strat League in the 2015 card set.
You know how I lost to Lawrence in the 1979 league where Lawrence went 7-1?
Tell me.
I was like dominating the game. I don't know what part of the game was. Maybe it was right before halftime. It was early 3rd quarter. I remember. I was like dominating the game, and then I got a safety. And his offense is doing nothing.
Okay.
And then I fumbled the free kick. then I fumbled the free kick on the safety, and he got a touchdown, and then I fumbled the kickoff.
Wow.
And I was like, if only I had not gotten that safety, I'd have been in great shape.
It should be like an optional penalty. I'm going to refuse the safety, leave him at the 1-yard line and make him punt.
It was bad. Well, how about Lawrence? That league, that mini 1979 DFL league, only in 8 seasons, goes 7-1 in one day.
Die hard indeed.
Yes. I don't know what he's going to do the rest of the month. Well, he's hoping to play some SSFA playoffs because he's 12-4, and he's going to play one of the winners of the opening rounds. And Lawrence would like to make a little more noise, but he did a great job getting to 12-4 with that team. That's not your typical 12-4 team. So he still's got a lot of, you always have your work cut out for you in the playoffs, and the coaching in that league is very strong. I mean, the wild card games were all like, you're there, you played Mick, and then Ron Dickinson's in there, and Nathan's in there, and Paul's in there. I think Keith is the other guy. As it turns into a long pass fest for Matt Hasselbeck, that's not a good sign. We're midway through the 4th. He's down 27-3, so this is pretty much over. But nice. I got my nap in, and then I came on to call about 20 minutes of action.
Yeah, I didn't see that it had started either. So it would have been nice to, when you got the star play-by-play man in Tom Cook, shoot him a text next time. Come on, guys, give him a chance at least to call the game in its entirety.
Well, we had emailed. I knew they were scheduled to start at 7, and then Joe Golden instant.
Oh, I thought it was 7:30.
Originally, they were going to play at 7 Eastern, and then Joe Golden instant messaged me at 6:22 to say that they're sending me the IP in case I was around. Now, at that time, I was taking my nap. And then, so 15, 20 minutes later, I woke up and saw it. I asked if they were playing. He said, yes. Oh, my God. Did I even start the broadcast? Yes, I did. Thank God. Okay. But,
well, I mean, we did get all the action. It was 3-3 when we tuned in, and indeed, we've gotten everything since.
But by the time I got the YouTube thing going and got in the game and got the IP, it's, actually, it's halftime. So that's okay. Well, they didn't know for sure I was going to call because I told them I wasn't feeling that well. I was calling your game earlier with see what happened. So it wasn't like they knew I was going to call and said, screw it, let's start early. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what'd you think about Dan's post on the boom and bust halfbacks?
Well, I mean, if I bring that up on the screen, there's only 4:30 to go in this game. It's tough to say. I mean, he says 2 years ago there was a strong correlation between those numbers and what resulted into cards. Last year, he said he tried to add to it. Joe takes over on downs. Less than 4 minutes ago, Joe has the ball up 27-3. That's why we're moving on to some other things. But I feel like some of them don't seem to make – well, here's the deal is – I mean, look at it as consistency versus chunky. So, like, Frank Gore's like third on the list. So maybe Frank
but he's not going to have a good card.
You know, the Frank Gore, he might have consistent yard, but you're not going to have one of the better cards in the set.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You almost have to take that list and compare it with the yards per carry that you're going to see. You can't take it as a standalone list because Gore's not going to be in the top 5 of the backs in this card set.
But so I think maybe what you do then, though, is maybe you look at guys, look at their overall stats, and then, like you said, okay, we know Frank Gore didn't even average 4 yards a carry, so maybe he'll be somewhat consistent, but not that good. But then you look at a guy like Bilal Powell or Le'Veon Bell, who had very good rushing stats. You say, okay, they look like they should have good cards based on the raw stats as this game ends. 27-3 in favor of Joe, moves on to the SOMSFA semifinals. And let me say congratulations, Joe, and Scott had a fine year. 9-7, not with a great team, I don't think, and won a playoff game before playing the number 2 seed, 14-2. Joe moves on to the semifinals. Congratulations to him. And Dennis, we know you're waiting in SOMSFA. You're 16-0. I mean, look, anytime you're playing in the playoffs, anything can happen. You're concerned about are there any opponents that worry you?
Well, Joe, this team, Joe's done really well. I think Ed and Joe are the two coaches with the two strong teams that worry me the most. But even my round 1 matchup game against Bill Vargas, he's got Phillip Rivers and Jamal Charles, and he's got a ton of weapons. So, that game's not going to be easy. So
now, weren't you like 5 or 6 or 7-0 and telling me that at that time that you thought that Philly Bill Vargas, I don't know if he's from Philly in real life, but his team was the Eagles, that was the game that made you most concerned about possibly not going undefeated. And then you won that game.
That's right, and that's my point, is that team has a ton of weapons. I did wind up winning that game, and there were other games that were closer. I only beat you by 10 points. Really, it was only 7 points because I just
didn't you
attacked on a late field goal with no time.
You ran at the score on the last play because you don't want to look like you had barely beaten my lousy SOMSFA club.
Yeah, but you're lousy. I mean, I was beating your team 22-8, and then all of a sudden you got a pick 6 and on a flat pass and a touchdown to a CJ Fedorowicz. But yeah, so that was a close game. I also had a couple more close games in the fourth quarter, like the mirage of earlier in the season where I was beating teams by double their score. That's gone away. I barely beat the Jets by 3. I barely beat the Rams by 5. I barely beat the Broncos by 1. So that was the game where he went for a 2-point conversion to try to take me out on the last play of the game.
Dennis, I think it's time to break out the violins and the sad music. And
I'm just saying.
I've won 32 straight regular season games. I've made the Super Bowl 3 straight years, won 2 out of those 3. How am I ever gonna get it done? Poor Dennis.
This team is tailor-made to go, undefeated up until the Super Bowl, the semifinal game, and then lose, because it's not that great. It's not as good as my team last year. It's not as good as your team last year. So
So Dennis, the mirage of beating people handily as he outscores the opponent by 318 points, an average of just a hair under 20 points per game. Mirage, folks. What are you looking at here, guys? This is not 16-0, 548 points scored, 230 against. That's not really indicative of the strength of the team. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. I gotta go run down. Oh, go ahead. I'll be right there, bud. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be over there.
Sure.
So,
poor Dennis.
No, I'm fine. My son wants me to.
You only managed to outgain the opponent by 2,300 yards. You know, it was
like I said,
you had to squeak by. You're plus 17 in turnovers, plus 2,300 yards from scrimmage. You outran him by a full yard a game. You outpassed him by full yard per carry rather. You outpassed him by 2.4 yards per carry.
But you can throw those stats out once the playoffs starts.
You were this year. Yeah, 2,000.
Oh, and that was on. By the way, that sack was on a must run.
Okay, so. Astros there. Yeah, 2,000 yard rusher. Russell Wilson threw 31 touchdowns. But boy, Dennis will just have to see if you can get it done, huh?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be a struggle. Just like a 9-17 going on a
Bill Vargas was 97.
Anything can happen in the playoffs.
Bill Vargas was 9-7. He was outscored 348 to 370. You know,
I'm telling you, bring up his team.
You know, I know he has a good team. You know, I remember after I won my semifinal game in SOMSFA, and I was getting ready to play in the Super Bowl last year, you did the same routine. Like, boy, I don't know. I look at this Baltimore Ravens offense going up and down the field. I'm going to stop them. Like, you were undefeated. You outscore guys by 20 points a game. You can't do that and then talk about, boy, I'm like an underdog over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me get my Lou Holtz voice on. They put on their pants the same way we do. One leg at a time.
Yeah, I'm not sure which Holtz member that of the family that was, but it made it to work.
I have no idea.
To work on it. Maybe like Mickey Mouse's uncle, maybe more. But,
yeah, that was definitely goofy. So, but anyway, like I said, anything can happen in the playoffs. But trust me, when I get into a semifinal game and I've got to play, Ron or Butch or somebody like that, I'm not going to feel great about my chances. But I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to feel like extremely confident. I mean, anything can happen. You can't take anything for granted, and once you get in the playoffs, because you're not facing the bottom of the league anymore, where you can, you have all those great stats that you built up against them. You're facing, the tough teams.
I agree with you that in a playoff game, I don't care how good your team is, I don't care what the other guy's record was. You always go in there with like a little bit of concern because it's one game.
Seriously, Tom, objectively, look at this defense. Would you look at this team and say, oh, that's a 16-0 defense right there?
Absolutely not.
There's 5 4s on my defense. 5.
So you know what, Dennis? I'm going to have to run. I need to create spreadsheets for Bill Vargas to give him for your game so he knows what to do. So,
please don't. At least let me make it to the semifinal before you start kipping.
I'd like to see you win the Super Bowl. I'd like to see you get 3 out of 4. And have made 4 straight. I won't feel so bad about getting lucky against you to beat you that one last year. I did a very good team, though, 15-1 team, but I was lucky in that game.
Yeah.
So, and even the offensive line, 2 4s there.
This is what I've looked at. This is a little bit of Strat philosophy. Just like in the NFL, only one team's going to walk away with the championship. So I've had guys quit playing Strat-O-Matic because they just get so frustrated. The losses eat them up so much that they can't, they barely enjoy the wins, and the losses just, cut a hole in their stomach like an ulcer. You can't do that. You just got to realize that getting to the playoffs is a huge accomplishment in the 24-team league. Making it to the final 8 or the final 4, don't feel bad. Almost every other team in the league is going to end their season with a loss except the champion. So,
well, I do think. Yeah, I do think you don't want to take the losses too hard. I mean, look, it's fine to take a loss hard and let it bother you for a couple of days, especially in a league. Hold on a second. I'm getting it. It could be Shogo wants to play me, but
he's on a roll.
Yeah, but it could be. Well, what was I going to say was that yeah, you don't want to take the losses too hard. If you have a bad loss and it bothers you for 2 or 3 days, you had a great team that you were building years for. You finally had that great QB HB combo, and it's never going to come your way again in a certain league or whatever. I can understand that, but once or 2 or 3 days are gone, you can't let it bother you too much anymore. It can always bother you a little bit, but to me, my philosophy is, that's a philosophy in life that I have. Is which is similar to a Christian philosophy, but one of my friends was into Buddhism briefly, which I was surprised because he actually wasn't a very bright guy. But one thing, something like the Buddha teaches us to accept the things we cannot control. You know, so like when you play a Strat football game, look, all you can do is, you know, build your team the best way you can, draft your team the best way you can, play your games the best way you can, and then see what happens. I mean, if you go into a game and you do your best and it doesn't work out because the other guy's got a better team than you, or the other guy has a little more luck in that game, or maybe make a couple of calls that in hindsight you wish you could have back. All right, well, guess what? It's too late. You can't go back and change anything. And luck what against you, and you did your best, and that's what happens sometimes, you know. So,
right,
you know,
and
you tip and you move on, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I go by that same type of philosophy. I actually go by the words of the famous philosopher Alan Thicke, which is you take the good, you take the bad,
you take them both.
Take them both, and there you have the Facts of Life.
Now why is it Alan Thicke? Because that was the name of the Facts of Life show. That's who
wrote the Facts of Life theme song.
I never knew that.
Yes, Alan Thicke wrote a lot of or composed a lot of theme songs for sitcoms.
You never know what you're going to learn, Dennis, when you tune in for an SOMSFA SOMSFA playoff game, rather. But yeah, I mean, like for myself, you know, like when I lost to Jay in SSFA, I had a great Peyton Manning card, a great Marshawn Lynch card, a very strong defense. He had Adrian Peterson and the rookie Mike Glennon. Not a lot else going on. I mean, I had to be a huge favorite, you know, and I lost the game 19-16. And I really wasn't even terribly unlucky. Yes, I only completed 1 of 17 bombs, but some of them were double teamed and some of those were dump off readings or whatever. But I also could have coached better, I felt like, you know, which I think was the primary reason I lost, you know, but that's the way it goes. And also I knew that team was near the end of its run. So it wasn't like, all right, I lost that Super Bowl, well, I'm going to be right back the next year, or I'm going to be really good the next 4 or 5 years. No, that was an older team. They were going to be broken up soon after or whatever. And then actually I might have broken up with that team immediately. I think that might have been their last hurrah. Yeah. And, you know, but hey, that's the way it goes. You know, I now you do want to get some championships. I think it's easier when you've had those, but even then,
let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
So you're an SSFA champion.
Yes, I am.
And do you remember any of those games where you won the championship as well as you remember that loss to Jay?
Well, first of all, the loss to Jay is much more recent, okay? Because I think I had won the championship 3 years earlier, and I lost the championship to Jay about 2 or 3 years ago. So it's a 3-year versus a 6-year thing. But I had a very first of all, I had a very memorable Super Bowl against Nathan. It was a high-scoring game, a lot of back and forth. And I was up by I forget how many points, and he had his last possession, and Joe Flacco was his quarterback, and Flacco got injured. So he had to try to win the Super Bowl with Mark Bolger. At that time, we still played injuries in the playoffs, and he had to try to win the Super Bowl with Mark Bolger. So
you know what? That you're proving my point on what it takes to be a successful and balanced strat coach. You do remember the victories, and you don't focus solely on the losses. That's where I think it, you know, drags people down. When I'm feeling like, oh God, that loss was just really brutal, I try to focus on a recent good moment in strat, and that's what I, you know, like put my mental focus on, so I can move past it and get on to the next game. So this is a little post-game strat philosophy. I think that some people might find it interesting.
Well, I actually, yeah, and I'll write that up. I'll write it down. We have all this post-game commentary because the game was short and got out of hand in a hurry once we got in there. We missed the whole first half basically because they started early. But I feel like Dennis says, I'm a quadriplegic. I was injured when I was 19 years old. I've been in a wheelchair for a very long time, and not even in a wheelchair, but can't even use my hands well. And so I've been in therapy off and on with a professional therapist for many, many years. And one of the things I learned there is like, it's okay to have down times and have decent times. So it's like if you have a bad loss, it's okay to be down about it. You don't have to. Right. You don't have to get all Pete Carroll-y and be like, oh no, it's okay. I'm gonna look at the silver lining. No, you're allowed to be down for a while because if it's a rough loss, you had a team that you thought could do whatever. But you know what? But it shouldn't consume you, or it shouldn't make it to the point that you no longer enjoy Strat football. You know what
exactly.
I'm saying?
That's exactly my point.
I mean, if your only enjoyment of the game comes from winning championships, then your name is Dennis Crowley. No, if your only enjoyment of the game comes from winning championships, then you're probably not going to enjoy the game that much because there's a lot of good guys out there. You're not going to win a lot of championships.
Yeah, and you should enjoy the wins. You should enjoy regular season wins, playoff wins, a win in the championship. Those should be enjoyable to you. The friend of mine that quit Strat, when he won, it was just a relief. And when he lost, it was agony. So there was no enjoyment for him in the game. And part of the reasons why I was able to get over my SOMSFA loss last year, part of it was because you won. I was happy for you. I know it's not easy to beat. I mean, it sounds like a cocky ass. It's not easy to beat me. I'm a good coach. I can do some things. But when somebody beats me, I feel good. I try to feel good for them. That's they got the chance to enjoy that victory, that championship, to break up my undefeated streak, whatever it is. And that way, I'm not like upset that you won. I was upset that I lost, and I did. Of course, it's tough to lose. I wanted to win, but on the other hand, I was really happy for you. You got that championship. It had been a while since you won a championship. You put together a great team, and it was a fun game. I mean, I know you say, I griped a little bit because I feel like it would have been different if I would have been able to concentrate instead of BSing, and that's just my defense mechanism. It probably, I'm sure it would have been different, but it might have been this even a worse result. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it was fun. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't do it again in a championship game, but it was fun.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because when I play against guys that I know are good coaches, unless you get horribly diced, which doesn't happen that often, especially in a big game, unless you get horribly diced. But even when you get horribly diced, it's like, look, how am I going to complain about losing to Ed or Ron Martin or Paul or any of these guys who is good, because I know they're really good coaches. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm a Jet fan. If I lose to the Patriots, I'm going to be like, oh man, the Jets should have won that game. No, the Patriots are better than the Jets are. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you need the guys that better. I'm just saying, like when I lost to Jay, I never felt either during that Super Bowl or after that Super Bowl. You know what thought never crossed my head? Man, I can't believe I lost that game. That never crossed my head, crossed my mind, because Jay did a great job. Jay's an excellent coach. Yes. We've seen what he's done since then. So it's like, hey, you just got to tip your hat to the other guy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
And also, I think for me, like we had this big thread. We had a lot of good threads last year. A lot of them seem to come out of me deciding to rebuild my SSFA team, but about what brings guys enjoyment in Strat football, And you and I have spoken about it. And like what gives me enjoyment. Look, I enjoy having a continuous franchise that I built with for a long time, where and I enjoy drafting young players, following young players, and building a team that can compete almost every year. I enjoy having a franchise like that more than I do winning championships. And it's my hope that I have a franchise like that with like an 8 or 9 year run. It's my hope that I certainly expect them to win one championship at least. It's my hope that I win a couple or I get into a couple. I probably would be frustrated if I had a really good team for 9 years and they did not win one title. But I don't feel like, I need to win 3 or 4 titles or even 2 titles. I would love to win a second title with the other SSFA team. It didn't work out. But, hey, then it was time for me to rebuild and rebuild it. Now I got a loaded team coming up. So, yeah, I went 4-28 the next 2 seasons with that franchise. But that's what I enjoy out of the game. Other guys enjoy different things. Other guys enjoy, well, look, I take it pretty seriously. You're very into it. Other guys, have it as a little more of a hobby, where they don't know the current NFL status of their backup left guard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Guys have got jobs and have got families and they enjoy the game, but they don't get into it as hardcore as some others. So, for a lot of guys just having a season and having a decent season and being 7-9 and being competitive, they enjoy being in these leagues, so. And there's nothing wrong with any of those levels of enjoyment. You know what I'm saying? And I have to remember that when I'm thinking about the way the guys draft and trade and I'm criticizing people, because not everyone has the time I put into it.
Yeah, those are great points. I hope that people, you should post this on the main Strat Football forum and just say where the general talk starts, because this is, I think, exactly what makes this hobby so great is the community we have and the ability to enjoy the game on different levels. And some of this stuff will really help people to take that next step as a coach, where you're not so focused on, gosh, why am I always losing all the time, or why am I always, I can never get over the hump. You will get there. When I started playing online, I was a terrible coach, and you just put the time in, you put the work in, you start understanding the rules. If you want to, then you can get there. So you just have to put the work in. Hey, Tom, I got to run. I promised my son I'd help him. Thanks a lot for everything you do for the community, all your broadcasting of the games and stuff, and good luck to Joe in the next round. By the way, my game versus Philly is this coming Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So I'll email you that in case you can call it.
All right, Dennis. See you later. And then if you want to put these notes up in the main section, you can do that. Okay? Later. He's already gone. All right, folks. We had some post-game talk about some interesting things, and I hope you enjoyed. Joe Golden's on to the semifinals and a chance to make his first SOMSFA family of Super Bowls. Joe's a great coach. That'll be well deserved. And I look forward to that. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.